once it happened. In a business meeting, the head of that institution came and put up a large white sheet and went there and drew a little dot, black dot. And he asked everybody, "What do you see?" They all looked at it and said, "It's a dot." Somebody said, "It's a spot." Somebody said, "It's a full stop." Somebody said, "It's a period." This, that. He went on asking, "What do you see? What do you see?" They got frustrated. "Okay, man, it's a black dot, what about it? You want us to give a million meanings to it?" And I said, this is the problem. The problem, why all of us are operating the way we are operating right now is, we miss the whole empty scape behind it. Our focus is on the little dot. Right now, what you call as creation is just a tiny dot in an immeasurable empty scape. Whether you look this way or you look that way, you see only a large empty scape, nothing else. What you call as creation, what you call as happening, what you call as act or the actor is just a spot. Rest is all an empty scape. Because the nature of existence is such. Today, modern science is proving this to you, that time and space can be packed. Today, modern physics proves to you that the whole universe can be packed into something smaller than an atom. Today, modern physics proves that to you, that the whole universe exploded from a tiny dot and became a whole universe. This is called as the Big Bang. This Big Bang is continuously expanding still. One day it may so happen, the physical theories say, a big crunch may happen, that everything may get crushed into a tiny little dot once again. So what you know as space and time, what is here and there, what is now and then, this is the act. All the act happens because there is space and time. And this space and time doesn't really exist, it's the projection of your mind. So both the act and the actor is your creation. When I say your creation, so is there one more actor behind the actor? Not in that sense. It is a non-acting process. It is a scape of nothingness, a non-scape, but it is capable of containing every kind of act that you wish. People are doing this out of illness. Schizophrenic means somebody becomes two inside one. There have been cases where a single person is living up to 32 different personalities within himself, full-scale personalities with relationships, life, everything. That is the maximum recorded in modern psychology. But there have been yogis who have lived hundreds of lives within themselves. Because it's an empty scape. You can write as much as you want, it's never going to become full. You don't have to fear that. Generally it is happening out of sickness, but if you are conscious, also it can happen. You can draw a very complex act or you can draw a simple act, it's up to you. Because anyway it's an empty scape. The idea of An inner actor is just an illusory idea. But right now it seems to be real because we are identified with simple things that we have gathered. Anything that you touch, you get identified with it. So it looks all real. So to be drunk, to be blissful, to be miserable, to be in ecstasy, to be in agony, you don't need an actor, nor do you need an act. You can simply go through all these things because that's the act. You can do whatever you want. It's after all yours. Write whatever you want. You want to draw a beautiful picture or an ugly picture, it's up to you. Or you want to have a line drawing or you want to have a detailed painting, it's up to you. So when I said I'm just an act, I'm just being straight about it. You are pretending to be real. Yes.
Sadhguru, when you say everything in existence is just energy, from the gross to the subtle, it suggests a completely impersonal reality. Does the realm of the personal, all its love, its poetry, its lunacy, its rage, its beauty, mean nothing at all ultimately? Does that mean there is no connection at all between the psychological and the existential?
So someone is really very dearly attached to all the things around them. I don't want to destroy it. If you love your life so much, why should I take it away? I don't want to take it away. But unfortunately, death will. I am not death, I am just a reminder. I am not the angel of death, I am just reminding you, anyway it's going to happen, it's better to be aware that it's going to happen. All these things that you're talking about, what are those things? Your love, your…
It's love, it's poetry, it's lunacy.
Particularly lunacy. Love, if I talk about it, I'll become unpopular. Poetry, maybe that's okay because not many people read poetry. Lunacy, I cannot touch that because that is a universal phenomenon. So what is there left for me? Is there anything more?
It's rage, it's beauty.
Okay, maybe there's some things we can talk about. Rage, not everybody has rage because it takes a lot of energy to be in rage. Someone said this, probably Che Guevara. You heard of Che? You might not have heard of him, but most probably you've seen his picture because lots of young people have his picture on their t-shirts, almost everywhere on the planet. These days people don't know who he is, they think he's a rock star or something. He wasn't, he was a revolutionary who became a phenomena at a certain time in the 70s and 80s. He became a great phenomena around the world. But somehow those t-shirts are still selling. Even today, everywhere, Che Guevara's t-shirts are continuing to selling all over the planet. So Che said, if you're outraged, you're with us. So someone who is a fan of Che went on repeating this to me. Then I said, oh, that's what Che said, but please listen what I have to say. If you're out of rage, you are with me. Now, you even get attached to all the things you suffer, that's the problem. Your lunacy is not something that you enjoy. If it's on a mild scale, you think it is giving you an extra dimension of character. When your lunacy is on a mild scale, you think it's giving you a little freakish character, it enhances you, because otherwise nobody would notice you. Now because of your lunacy, people are noticing you, taking note of you. There are a lot of people, that's the only way they can get attention. Lunacy has its benefits. When you play it on a mild scale, if it picks up momentum, then you had it. Once it picks up momentum, then you really had it, because that becomes… the ultimate suffering on the planet is mental illness, if you do not know this. If you become lunatic, if you lose this is the ultimate suffering. We always thought that if one becomes mad, there is no suffering. It is not true. The deepest form of suffering happens to you when you become mentally ill. All forms of suffering are actually different levels of mental illness, really. It's happening on mild scale. If it goes beyond a certain point, then it is called illness. It is just that small-scale lunacy you enjoy. Every day you go into it for 5 minutes and come back, you think it's giving you an added character. One day you went there and you could not come back, then people say, you're mad. No more an interesting character, you're mad. So all these things that you're talking about, your love, your poetry, your lunacy, your rage, all these things are just different manifestations of your mind, which you understand. That's why the question is the psychological, completely divorced from the existential. You please tell me yourself. Look at your own psychological activity and see where is it coming from. The information that you have gathered may be partly existential, but everything that happens within you is purely psychological. And the information that you're gathering through the 5 senses today is scientifically proved it is not the way it really is. Nothing that you see, hear, smell, taste and touch is actually the way it is. Modern physics is out to do this, already it has done it in a big way. Modern neurosciences is completely demolishing your ideas of life. Not dwelling upon the scientific part of it, experientially, if you look at it, in your mind, every day you can create a new process if you're willing. You're actually doing this. Today you're in the ashram, it is a spiritual act. You go somewhere, it is another kind of act. You can do whatever you want with this, but the existential is just the way it is. Nothing has changed about it. Shankaran Pillai joined the medical college. It is a 5-year course. But because he was so thorough about everything, it was already 10 years and still they had not released him. Then one day he went to the library and looked at the anatomy book. The same anatomy book that people were studying 40, 50 years ago, the Gray's Anatomy, is still in vogue. So, he had read these 2, 3 anatomy books that were there because he's been there for 10 years. He went to the librarian and said, "I'm fed up with this. Isn't there somebody writing something new?" The librarian said, "Well, in the last 10 years you've been here, not a single bone has been added to the human system, so they haven't written anything new." Your mind, the psychological dimension of who you are, is constantly looking for variety and creating new things on a daily basis. It obviously has nothing to do with the existential, because the existential has always been the same. That is why the psychological decided something that is same all the time must be naturally boring. And that is why life has completely bypassed you. Right now, the question is coming because the only thing that is valuable in your life is your psychological process. You would not like to see that it is all rubbish. Definitely you would not like to see that it's all rubbish. So now the question arises, if you rubbish my lunacy, you must rubbish my love also. If you rubbish my rage, you must rubbish my devotion also. Yes, it is all rubbish. But right now that's all you have. So, at least create some wonderful kind of rubbish, because you have to employ this if you want to go beyond. Does the psychological have anything to do with the existential? If it had anything to do, if it had anything at all to do, then it wouldn't be something that you gathered, it would have been a part of you. But right now, the whole psychological process is the gathered process. Does it mean to say that the psychological has no meaning? It has. It is just like we wear these clothes. One thing it covers,